Hello there everybody, this is Grant, also known as the Collector 75. And welcome to a video that I've never done before. I've never done a Spawn video before, but I was a big fan of Spawn back in the 90s. So what I thought I'd do is a bit of 90s nostalgia. Because I went, as if you've been a regular follower of my channel, I haven't done one for a while now, but I used to do my loft haul videos, where I was basically just going back to my mum and dad's, where I used to live, and bringing everything from there to here, which is my house. So anyway, I mean, I had loads of Spawn figures at my mum and dad's, from which I collected back in the mid-90s, and I've been meaning to go and get them for quite a while. And I actually did go and get them a couple of weeks ago, but I've been in the middle of sorting out my lofts. I haven't really had much of a chance, and I sort of was umming and ahhing over, actually, because these were all boxed. I was umming and ahhing over taking them out, and I thought, you know what, I need the space. They're not really worth anything on eBay. You can find them pretty cheaply on eBay. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to open all up. Some I'm glad I did. Some I'm not, but I'll come to that as I go through. I have no idea how long this video will run for, but obviously if you're watching it, you'll know, because you can look. But from my point of view, as I'm doing it, I have no idea. Alright, so anyway, so what I'll do first of all, these are probably the first two figures I actually bought back when I was getting the comic. This is the first edition of Spawn, and he is actually pretty cool. As you can see, it is pretty well detailed for a figure of that time period, because up until then, the action figures that were coming out were basically almost just a bit like G.I. Joe figures, really. There was no articulation. I mean, these still doesn't have a massive amount of articulation. But what these did do is give them good proportion sizes, good accessories, and just made them look as best they could for the time period. And on the most part, I mean, they look a little dated now, some of them, especially with the articulation, but they still look really good. Even this first edition of Spawn looks pretty damn good with his cape, you know, so you cannot go wrong. Right, so anyway, before I carry on with the figures as much, I'll just give you a brief history of Spawn if you don't really know about Spawn. I'm going to give you the history of the comics a little bit. I'm not going to go too much into it, because the film that came out back in the mid-90s was absolute pants. You really do not want to watch that film. It is terrible. I was really looking forward to it as well, but there we go. So anyway, so the comic opens up with just a flash of lightning, and suddenly on a building is this guy, Spawn. He cannot remember who he is or how he got there, but as the comic progresses, he gets flashbacks of his memory, really, and he realises that, in fact, he actually died, but you can't remember too much more of that, but he gets all these other memories as time goes by. And basically what happens is he starts remembering that he was killed by a friend, but he cannot remember who it was. He remembers that he has a wife. That is all that he remembers. And then he remembers he did a deal with the devil. Basically, he wanted to see his wife again. And the devil, as the devil does, just took him literally on that. He allowed him to see his wife, but obviously Spawn wanted to be with his wife. But no, all he was allowed to do was see his wife. And to torture him even further, his wife had got married to his then best friend, and they'd had a child which he couldn't have. He always wanted children, but they couldn't figure out why. And now he finds out that it's actually him. He's the reason why they couldn't have children. And you find out that what this comic is basically doing is torturing this poor fellow, Al Simmons. And it just goes from there, really. You find out lots more of his backstory. You find out who killed him, and just what his deal with the devil was, and what he's actually all about. And it was just so cool. It was so cool. It was brilliant for the time. It was just ultra violent, gore everywhere, and everything like that. And I absolutely loved it, if I'm honest. I'm just trying to fix my light because it's all gone a bit pear-shaped at the side here. 1 second. There we go, that's better. Yeah, so anyway, so Spawn himself has a finite amount of power. He doesn't have, a bit like Superman, where he has almost unlimited powers. In the comic, he had like a timer. And every time he used his power, it would count down. And you always assumed that eventually it would get to 0, and then something would happen. He was always told that if his timer did go down to 0, he'd be sent back to hell, basically, and I don't know, stay there, I suppose, until the War of Armageddon, which he was actually on Earth for. He was supposed to be like a general in training that was... It was a kind of a weird sort of messed up scenario. It's so cool and cool. It's hard to explain. He was basically, he's a good man, but he did bad things during his life, and that is why he went to hell when he died. And the devil likes people like that and does this, but also gets amazing amounts of fun out of torturing them, their souls and everything. And that is basically it. But obviously by that, he, and like anybody he kills, because he likes killing bad people, he was always that sort of person. The devil always wins because those bad people go to hell and become soldiers in his army. So the devil can't lose. Spawn knows that, but he can't do anything about it. And it was just this really, really good mix of what do you do when you're damned if you do or damned if you don't. And it shows that he's just a damned soul trying somewhere somehow for redemption. I never actually got to the end of that. Unfortunately, I stopped collecting that comic when it got to about issue 60 or something like that. I have been trying to get some of the collected editions, but they're just so hard to get hold of. Anyway, but that's about it. I'm not going to go too much more into that. So these were the figures. This is such a cool figure. I loved it. He had a cape. His cape or his suit was basically another life form. It's a bit like the Venom I would say the bloody word symbiote from Marvel Comics with this Spider-Man. So his suit was actually not exactly an alien entity, is an entity from hell, basically, and it had bonded himself to Spawn, Wow Simmons, if you want. And it would do anything to protect him and such like that. You know, it's pretty cool. Right, so now then, I do remember one time, you used to look at his uniform, and you'd look at the way it is, and it took a child, apparently, to actually tell Spawn all about his uniform. It just appears there. He doesn't really take in the symbols on it or anything like that. But the devil is actually called the Vaporizer. And the child asks him about who he works for. And he says, well, I work for this guy called the Vaporizer. And he goes, oh, right. So have you got his symbol? And he goes, no, I haven't. He goes, well, that's funny because on your chest, you've got a big M. And he does. He has an absolutely massive M. So it starts here and just comes all the way around here. And that is the symbol of the Vaporizer. And that shows that he is owned by the Vaporizer. And that was kind of cool because that reference wasn't even uttered until about issue 30 or something like that, when, I don't know, he's doing something. He's trying not to use his powers because he finds out then if he uses all his powers, he goes back to hell or something like that. Anyway, right, so that's about his uniform and everything. This little dude here was a pretty cool figure. I did like this one. This is the medieval Spawn. There is a little bit of a storyline to him. I believe he was created by Neil Gaiman because Todd McFarlane did get a couple of guest writers to pen a couple of the issues, like about 8, 9, and 10. Some of them are actually really good. And Neil Gaiman did pen the one where it featured the first appearance of Angela and this dude, the medieval Spawn. It does get a bit contentious on the copyright issues there, but I do believe it was resolved in the end with Todd McFarlane, especially because he got taken to court twice. Actually having to give, I think it was either shared rights or full rights, I can't remember what it was, of ownership of medieval Spawn and Angela to Neil Gaiman, because that's the way things go. And when you think of how Image Comics was founded, you do think that was a little bit out of order of Todd McFarlane trying to take away the rights, because up until a certain point he was happy to give him the rights and then just took them away. Anyway, right, so there are a couple of the loose figures there. Now, which ones shall we do next? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to move these to the back. We'll go through the boxed figures, which ones I haven't opened as yet. We're going to put them to the back like that if they stand up. And we're going to go, because this is 10 minutes already. Right, so then we have Spawn's arch nemesis, which was the Violator. He was just an agent from hell. He could turn himself into a clown, because they always have some weird ability, these alien people from hell. This is his clown thing, and he does have a little gimmick. Just a bit crap, but there we go. And he would turn into the Violator, and Violator had a nice thing about wanting to rip people's hearts out, which is always cool. So there's them two. Right, the next one we're going to come to is a variant of this guy in the medieval Spawn over there. This is the black sort of version. When I was buying this, because at the time there was no eBay, there was no internet when I was buying these actually. If it was in its infancy. And so I actually got these from my local comic shop. And I don't want to think about how much I actually paid for them, especially when you consider what they're worth now. What ones we got? Oh, this was quite a cool fella. This was Overkill. He's quite a big, hefty, chunky figure. But the later version of him is a lot better than this one. As you can see, there's a little bit of paint flaking off him just under his chin. I don't know if that's going to zoom in too well on that. There we go. It's not a bad figure. Could have done with a little bit better paint, if you want my opinion. And then I bought this one. I don't know why I got this one. This is Tremor. I can't remember where he appeared in the comic, but he did appear. He's supposed to be orange, but I decided to buy the green version that they did. They did quite a few variants of the figures. Yeah, I don't know why I bought the green one. I should have just got the bloody orange one. So who else have we got here? Oh, this is a comic that came with my Spawn figure. I'm taking it out of the box. I'm throwing the box away. So here you go. I don't know what actually comic this is from. I think it was more like... It could have just been mine. See, there's the Malbolgia there. There's Jason Wynn. And then we've got some nice artwork there. It was good. I think it was Greg Capullo used to do the thing. It might be. No, there we go. You did do it for a while, but obviously not in this one. It was great. It was a great comic, honestly. Who else we got? Right, here we go. So this guy is the... I want to take this one out of the box, so I probably will do it. Don't think it's going to fit in. This is the Malbolgia. I remember how much this cost me. This cost me about £40 they wanted for this. Yeah, I don't know. But he's pretty cool. It's supposed to stand 15 inches tall, but if you're going to get it to stand, it's a bit like a weird Yoda. Well, there we go. So this is supposed to be the devil. So anyway, so there's him. I'll be taking him out of the box later. And this is a very strange figure that I bought. This is, what's his name? Exoskeleton Spawn. This is so he can go through the many levels of hell and either not be recognised or not be challenged, something like that. And he looks kind of like one of the Fileback brothers. I'll come to those in a minute. Right, this is another one. This is, I'll take these out of the boxes later, but they're a bit rubbish, really. This is Clad Spawn, just so we can add armour to him. Like I say, I had more money than sense back then. Especially because I'd stopped making Transformers, so I had no money to spend on Transformers. I have no idea why I bought this figure. This is Cosmic Angela. I don't know why I didn't get the first Angela figure. I don't think they got it in at my local comic shop. So I bought this piece of crap. It really does look like a shit fucking Barbie doll. Sorry for swearing there. But it does. It is just awful figure. I don't even know what I'm going to do with that one. I suppose I'll take it out of the box and never look at it again. This is one, I don't know why I bought this. I think I was just bored, had some money spare and thought I'd buy it. This is like Pilot Spawn. This is just Spawn in a different sort of get-up and everything like that. It looks quite cool, but yeah, I don't know. Who else have we got? We've got, hold on, let me go and grab him because I've left him, I don't know, I've left him all the way over here. Hold on, here we go, he's all the way over the other side of the table. I know I left him over there. I wanted to get this one out, but I haven't got round to it yet. This is my Spawn 2 figure. This is the second version they did of Spawn with the new costume that he had. I think it was in issue 27 or something like that. He actually got this new costume. So all the red had gone off of it and it was just with a big M on the black there and more spikes and everything off his costume and everything. It was supposed to be, the reason why he had this costume is that the symbiote was supposed to go through a metamorphosis some way down the line, but for some reason, which the Violator couldn't understand, is that it had happened far too soon with him, meaning that he was supposed to be special. I mean, if you look, which I'll come on to in a minute actually, you look at the supposedly good guys, which are the angels, which is like Angela, they act more like bad guys than Spawn does. It was kind of that weird, on its head kind of thing. Right, so that was all the boxed figures. Actually, no, I've got one more box. I'll show this one. This is quite a cool one. This, I can't remember where I got this one from. I don't even realise I still had it. This is like an anniversary one. I think it's come out in the year 2000 maybe, or 2005. I might have got it, someone got it me for Christmas. I have no idea. It's got the original Spawn there, and then we got the series 5th Spawn that they've done. You can't really play with it. It's more just posing it on a thing. It actually looks quite cool. I don't know if his head's coming through there. But it's not too bad. No, my camera don't want to pick it up. Let's see if I can raise it up. There it is. It looks pretty damn cool, in my opinion. I probably won't open it up because I've just got nowhere to display them. I like it how it actually has real chains in it as opposed to plasticky chains. I do have another one at my mum and dad's actually, which I forgot to bring. That's got like a 2-pack like that one, which was Spawn versus Al Simmons from, it's kind of classic cover toys or something like that. It's a bit weird. Right, so anyway, on we go. This one is, I've got his little knife down here. It does come with a couple of cool little accessories. Got his little knife there. This is Commandos Spawn, and he's in a bit of a commando-y outfit. He's got a shotgun, and he's got this rocket launcher which will fire this potent missile and everything, and you can raise up his little headgear and everything like that, and that's all right. I don't mind it. I don't know why I bought it. There was a speckled gun version, or is this the speckled gun? This might be the speckled gun version, actually. The other version is just all silver or something like that. He tried charging me probably more to get this version. It probably isn't worth hardly anything, but there we go. So we're going to put him to the back there. He actually looks quite cool. Then this is the second version of the clown that they did, which is kind of better. He does have all these soft rubbery guns at the top. Again, he goes, oh, get this one. It's got these weird orangey guns rather than just the normal coloured gunmetal guns. So sillily, I went for this one. I don't know why. I mean, it looks kind of cool with these sort of like weird fluorescent guns on the top, but I think I'd have preferred the gunmetal ones. But there we go. Anyway, you can move them around, and that's I do like him there. And as you can see, he does have the mark of the bulger as well. You can see the M on the top of his forehead there. I don't know if that's gonna. Let me take this autofocus off. There we go. So you can see the M on his forehead, and I love that head sculpt. I mean, they actually. I mean, you can't really play with them too well, but they look amazing. Right, so there's the clown. Oh my god, no! I just knocked him over, never mind. He'll be all right. Right, so we're going to have, we are going to go for, this is the second version of Overkill. Now, this is after he got destroyed by Spawn and was then rebuilt. And he actually looks pretty cool. Again, you can move these legs, but if you move them, you cannot pose him, you cannot stand him. So you have to have him in this position to stand. You can move the arms. And this is his gimmick. You can rotate this around and then do this and it will rotate. Oh, that's not too bad, actually. It's not a bad gimmick. You can sort of move his head. And it actually looks pretty good. I actually like that. It does come with an attachment you can fit in there, which is a drill, if he wants to go mining or something. Or you can put his hand in there. That's pretty cool. I like that. So anyway, so there's Overkill. He looks all right. Who else we got round the back here? We are going to go for this fellow next. This is Chapel. I couldn't wait to get Chapel. Again, he needs some painting in this bit. They obviously forgot to paint the back of his shirt there, so it looks a bit weird. Yeah, but this is Chapel. I like Chapel. And again, the comics have done something really weird. Now, I'm sure everybody knows by now. This is the guy that actually killed Spawn. He was his friend in the army and everything like that. But he got paid by his boss, Jason Wynn, to kill him. And he had no problems doing it, because that was the type of guy this was. And then in the film, they changed it from Chapel. For some reason, maybe they just couldn't work him into the storyline. I don't know. So they changed it. He was killed by this woman called Priest. They had to use some sort of god motif on it, because in the comics, some of the visions that he was getting to who killed him, he was seeing signs of crosses and stuff like that to do with the church. Obviously, it was called Chapel and stuff like that. You see, it was giving him clues and laughing at him because he couldn't actually get the full picture and stuff like that. So they had to use someone with a god motif on their name. That's why they changed it to Priest. Now, this guy was really cool. I did like this guy. This guy is the Redeemer. I love this. It just looks cool with his flapping cape and everything, but he's got the weirdest legs. You cannot pose him in any other position apart from this. Now, I got this guy out, and this is where the inherent problem with these figures lie. They degrade, unfortunately. Now, this arm is all translucent plastic. I moved it and it snapped straight off, unfortunately. So you can see the wires. He does have some batteries, but I haven't got around to putting batteries in him yet. But it does sort of stay there if I just tuck it in, usually. There we go. It will sort of stay there until now. Anyway, but there he is. But it will sort of stay there. It's just because I'm behind the camera and everything. Anyway, there is the Redeemer. And now he was, in the first issue, he was called the Anti-Spawn. As it went on, they changed the name to Redeemer. And first of all, they used Jason Wynn to handle, I think it was the elemental fire, which would basically set his soul on fire and would give him all these powers and stuff like that to take on Spawn. Spawn beat him at first, and then they They didn't use Jason Wynn anymore. They used someone else, and that was when then they called him the Redeemer. And that's pretty cool. I just love how he's got like a cross on his cape there. I love that. Oh my god, I nearly caused a massive domino effect down there. There we go. Right, who else have we got? We got this guy. Now, I cannot remember this guy in the comics. I'm sure he was in it, and I'm sure sort of do remember him, but I cannot think of who he was or whatever. This guy's called the Curse. Now, he's obviously had a lot of bad luck in his life because he's got no arm, and he's replaced it with this metal appendage. You can sort of swing it around, have a chainsaw and stuff like that. And he's doing this. Oh, get you next time. Whatever his name is. What are they? Oh, anyway. But yeah, but he's got that sort of look on his face. And he looks all right. You can open this up. Oh, Gadget. Well, no, that was I'll get you next time, Gadget. That was it. Anyway, yeah, so there we go. There's the Curse. And he looks pretty cool. They've always got one weird leg in armour and one not on a lot of these figures, which is a bit weird. But there you go. He looks all right. Will I get him over here without knocking everybody else down? So there's him. Who else we got? We ain't got too many more left. I've got this guy, which was Bad Rock. And he was a kind of, what comics were they? Image Comics, wasn't it? An Image Comics version of the Thing out of the Fantastic Four. Yeah, other than that, I mean, you can open these up and they will fire these missiles out and everything. Other than that, he's just this big dude. I don't know why I got him, but I did. I'm going to pop him over there in the background. Who else we got? We have got this guy. I ain't got too many more, thank God. I have no idea why I bought this one. This one is Alien Spawn, and it was supposed to be a spawn on a different planet, because even all the planets in the cosmos are ruled by heaven and hell. So that is the understanding between this one. I mean, at the end of the day, these are supposed to be toys. There is supposed to be some bits that go in here, but I could not get them bloody in. I like these weird bits, but they're all rubbery plastic or whatever. And he's just a big chunky figure. Nothing more to say about him, really. He can pop over to the side out of the view shot and be forgotten about. Who else we got over here? We have got, we are going to leave that one till last. We are going to come to this guy. Now, I bought this guy actually the other day. This is a fairly recent purchase because I wanted the brothers of the Violator. Now, this is the Vandalizer. Now, you can get this in a few different colours. I think you can get this in a red colour, maybe a grey colour, but this is like the dark blackish grey colour. I got this for £5, plus I had to pay a bit of postage on it. The seller decided not to mark it. You know, I asked him where it was after a few days of buying it, and then he straight away marked it as posted, and I thought, that's handy. Should get that in a day or two. 4 days went by, so I thought, where is it? So he mailed him again, and then he sends me this thing, and then nothing. And so I thought, well. And then I finally get it on the Monday, over a week later, and he hasn't actually sent it till the Friday. That was nice of him. And then when it does come, he's got a broken leg. So I managed to get my money back from eBay anyway. Actually, no, the guy refunded me. And I managed to super glue it on now, so I'm never going to be able to move that leg again. But I'm not bothered because these sort of figures you don't actually play with, you just sort of pose, really. And you can't pose him in any other pose apart from this. So there we go. So I've got one of the, I'm sure it was the 5 famous Fileback brothers or something, as the Violator used to say. And I've got this guy. Now, I don't actually remember this guy being one of them, but I do have this one. This is the Vertebreaker. He is just, I don't know what he is. He is just the weird monstrosity of hell. He's got this weird arm out the back and everything, and he just looks absolutely bonkers. And I love him. I love him. I don't actually remember being one of the 5 famous Fileback brothers. I think sure the Violator, the Vandalizer, Vaporizer, Violator, Vindicator. Maybe it was a Vertebreaker, but I never remember them. But anyway, the only ones they did was that I found were these 2. And of course we have this one. We have got this version. Oh my god, I'm going to knock my light down. I have to start moving some actually because they're taking up all the room. We'll get out rid of you. You can go over there, don't fall on the floor, you'll probably break. So this guy is the Violator. This is the second version they've done of the Violator. And it is just so much better than the first one. It just looks evil as anything. I love it. It is just absolutely brilliant. You can't really pose him too well because these feet aren't movable or anything. It would have been so cool if you could have him standing up. But I just love it. I just love the look of him. You can just have this guy come along. My son saw this the other day. My son is not frightened of things like this at all, which is kind of weird. because obviously there are things he's afraid of, but not things like this, which is a bit weird. Anyway, right, yeah, so you have to sort of pose him leaning down. It's a bit weird because you just cannot stand him up. Anyway, right, that is there are 2 versions of this. And I did buy this one the other day. Now, if you'd have been following me on Instagram, you'd have seen I put a picture of this dude up. And he's pretty cool. This is the Cyber Violator. Now, it's the same mold as this one. It's just now he's been replaced with some cybernetic parts. Like he's got this metal claw on the back, a metal jaw, a mechanized arm, sort of like some thing going over his eye and everything like that. And he's all right as an odd figure. I actually really like it. Which one would I rather have? I suppose I'd rather have the official normal one, just because that's the one I really wanted when I was collecting the comic, really. And that's quite cool. Right, so I've got one more figure. I've got one more figure to show, and it's probably one of my favourites that I really, really wanted when I saw it in the shop. This bloody video's gone on way too long. This one is Future Spawn, and it was the only one of these that actually came in a proper box. I bloody knocked him over now. Let's get him out of the way. Just throw him over there. And we'll get rid of the Vandalizer as well. Move him out of the way. Got to make sure he don't fall over because that bloody leg will break. Right, so this is Future Spawn. And now you are going to have trouble posing this fellow. I'll tell you that right now off the bat. So you've got to sort of like move these legs around like that, because this one, he's got an arm attached to this leg. It's a bit of a weird figure. So you want to sort of do that. You can see there's his head and everything. He's got this weird mechanized arm over here. The claws do open and everything. What's all gone dark? What's happened there? There we go. So that ain't too bad. But then the best thing about it, giving him that proper Ed 209 look, you can close this over like so. And this is a bit like his cape, which turns into wings. And there he is. And this is Future. I just think it looks fucking brilliant. I love this figure. I just love it. I just think this is why I started collecting these figures back in the 90s. Things like this. They just look good. Yeah, I love this figure. This is why it was my favourite. Like I say, it's the only one who came in a box, and I'll probably keep it that way. I'll probably keep this one in the box. Great figure. I love it. If I had the room, I'd put all these on display, but I don't have the room, unfortunately. So they are probably going to go away in a box, unfortunately. Right, there we go. Now, there is one more figure I do want. I'm still in an iron over it. I want to get the Spawn Bill. There is one I've seen, but it's just too pricey. I mean, it's about 30 quid, but I don't think it's even worth that. But if I want it, then that's what I've got to pay, unfortunately. So I'm still undecided on it, really. But I've got nowhere to put it. We'll just go in a box, so maybe I shouldn't bother. But yeah. Right, this is the end of this video. Now, I know it's gone on for nearly half an hour, by the looks of it. I hope you enjoyed it. It's just something different that I like doing every now and again. Because they were kind of cool figures. It was a great comic back in the early 90s, mid-90s. There were some fantastic issues. I mean, there was a great one. I can't remember what issue it was, who it's wrote by now. You've got one where I think Alan Moore might have wrote it, where it follows this guy called, is it Billy Kincaid? I can't remember. He's a serial killer who liked killing children. And I think one of the issues, Spawn kills him. And then in this issue, he wakes up in hell. And it just has his odyssey through hell and what happens to him. And it is just a cool story. It's just a standalone story. Just this guy in hell. And it's really cool. And I think we have I think that's where we see the first appearance of the Vaporizer. I think it was the Vaporizer. Can't remember. Anyway, so that was a pretty cool one. And there was another one where I think it was wrote by Dave Sim, who'd done Cerberus or Erebus, you know, that weird aardvark bloke. And it just has, I think, Spawn visiting the only level of hell which no one knows about, because there's 10 levels of hell or something like that, all different. Spawn comes from the 8th level, but no one knows what's behind the door of the 8th level, because there's this big tower in hell, and from each, I suppose it exists in each hell, and if you go up the tower you can get to each level and stuff like that, but no one knows what's behind the door of level number 7 apart from the writer. And it basically just goes for this elaborate story of comics and the comic industry at the time. And it's pretty cool. It's such a good storyline. Yeah, and it's just one of those standalone stories that always sticks out. Can't remember what issue that is. Could have been issue 10. Anyway, right, yes, this has been Graham, the Collector 75. I hope you really enjoyed this video. It's taken me half an hour. I don't know how many people's actually going to watch it for half an hour, but there we go. But I shall see you all next time. Don't forget you can follow me on Instagram, the Collector 75, and of course, if you want to, you can support the channel using the links below. You can give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. That's always brilliant. And of course, you can share it and watch it and enjoy it, really. Anyway, I've been Graham, the Collector 75, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.